Now then, manners, it's only me, Ted Hanky, not to be confused with the wrong and off the darts. It's spelt different. If you're new to the podcast, I do feel like I have to establish that fact before you do put a complaint in for immoral sexual behaviour. It's not me, he's in the lockup. I'm out here entertaining. But this week's TED Talks, the Ted Hanky podcast, is an absolute cracker for you. Sponsored by the Warehouse Kitchen and Bar down on Stockton, somewhere. You'll find it, I don't care. Right? Hey, now, Mala.
All right, Ted. All right, everybody.
Here he is. I love Mala, mate. He's got like one of them cheeky little faces, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do try, Ted. But you're right. Ted Hanky is spelled differently to Eric Bristow, so don't ever think that it isn't.
Do you know
because
what?
It's different.
I once went to Thornaby Pavilion and met John Lowe, the dart player, and he was nice.
That's the same as me. I met Rob Lowe, the actor, at Thornaby Cricket Club once. I was smashed, so he might have been him, but he might not have been. But there's a chance he could, because the lad does like a nice 50 bob, I've heard.
Yeah. Right, man, have you been up to anything good this week before we get cracking into the nitty-gritty of the podcast?
Well, I've been to see the Borough, obviously.
Yeah. Don't talk about any results, because we have to keep it as if this is a timeless piece of work and not something where it is time referenced with particular scores, managers or girlfriends.
I know, and Tony Mowbray was classed as a manager at the time when I went to watch it, obviously.
I know you did, yeah. Oh, have you been? I always like to ask Mala, have you been scuttling anyone?
Well, as you know, right. I was brought back. She's let me loose now, so I'm like a free range feral hen, and I'm just popping around and just picking up seeds where I can. And I've been getting a lot of success in Dormanstown. Thank you very much, ladies.
A lot of mucky lasses in Dormanstown.
Yeah, class,
True
man.
fact. If you're unfamiliar with Dormanstown, if you're one of our international listeners, it's a bit like Kuwait, but with more takeaway shops and slags.
I thought it was where all the ad lads came from. Like all the Dorman and that in Borough. Did you think? I'm from Dormanstown.
You know, with Dorman, I live in Dormanstown. It's our own community for door lads.
It is mine. And they've got loads of dirty windows because instead of me cleaning them. So when your lad came home and he's like, I thought you had the window cleaner, you did. Look at the state of these. You'd be like, yeah, it's all the stuff off the chemical works and that.
You do look quite a bit like a window cleaner in that hat and tracky top, I'll be honest.
Well, when I was a kid, I watched that Confessions. Have you seen that one, Ted?
Confessions of a window cleaner, yeah.
And he was always jumping through windows and that, and he'd be getting scuttling going, and the lad would come home and he'd see his little white ass going up and down. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And there'd be some class music, then he'd jump out and run away.
Oh, hello, miss. Oh, it's a bit of a bush. That was for our audio listeners, that was a visual trailer for you there of Confessions of a Pervert or whatever.
That was Confessions of a Gardener that you were referencing.
Yeah, you used to love them with Rob Asquith. Great. But we're not talking about that today, Mala. We are going to be debating two of the biggest heavyweight film stars ever. But before we do, I'd just like to show our viewers at home the new T-shirt from the TedHankyT-shirts.com.
Well, it's class that, Ted.
I know, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here it is.
Ted, your nipples are quite erect.
They are actually, yeah. It's basically me through all of the Panini years, stickers of me when I was a professional footballer for many, many years. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Yeah. Right, yeah, we are going to be talking about who is better, Stallone or Schwarzenegger. Tell me, Schwarzenegger, fight your cause for him. Why? Why are you going for this big, daft Austrian tosser?
Right. Yeah. Have you heard that, Arnie? You want to be getting down here and giving him a bat.
I'll fill him in now, oh no, he's dead old.
Well, I reckon both them lads would live in Dormanstown if they were here, because they are both big lads. Well, actually, that's where I'm going to stop you, Ted, because one of them's a big lad. Do you know what I mean? 6'2",
yeah.
Man of muscle. And the other one, Stallone, is a little Italian lad, isn't he? Oh, well, I am about 4'6". So that's one reason, because everyone knows height's best when it comes to picking between action heroes.
Right, okay. All right, so you say he's taller.
He's taller, right? Also, his dad was in the German army in the Second World War. You can't get more controversial than that, can you? Now, I'm not going to say he was a Nazi, but he did fight for the Germans, which is a little bit odd. Well, I suppose not if you're from Austria, but yeah. So his dad was in the German army.
Was a Nazi.
Right, he came over to America after winning like loads of like muscle men contests, because there was now going on in Austria at the time, and he was like, "Sod this, I'm just going to do press ups." Right, and he become massive.
Yeah.
Right, he went to Germany for a bit.
Yeah.
He became even more massive.
Yeah.
And then he come over to America with Nout, and he said, "Listen, lads, right, I'm going to be the youngest ever Mr. Universe," and he was. He was. He just went and cracked it.
And then he made that documentary film, didn't he? Pumping Women or whatever
Pumping
it was.
Iron,
Iron, yeah.
Well, aye.
Pumping.
But even if you go, right, the lad, because I've read all his books and that, as you know, Ted.
Yeah.
I've read them all, right? He started out, he had no money. He was living in like some daft little apartment and that,
Yeah.
right? And then he went, right, I can't do the accent. Can I do the
No,
accent?
have a go at it. Go on.
Right, I'm going to save all of my money.
Good,
And I'm
that.
going to buy another apartment. And basically...
Why did he go Indian?
I don't know.
You're going to get cancelled, Mala.
Right, he
Can't
just
do
went,
that.
he went, right? And then he bought another apartment, and then he bought another apartment, just like they've done in Thornaby, you know what I mean? He bought shithole after shithole after shithole and rented them out. What a top lad that is. And that was even before he was famous. How good is that?
Did you watch the documentary on Stallone that's on Netflix called Sly?
I did.
I thought it was about you sneaking off when we were kids. Sly off. Right, well, let's have a look at Arnold's first 5 films before...
Can't judge a man on the first five, can you?
Hang on, because he didn't really become super film star until Conan the Barbarian in 1982. So the first 5 films, I'm gonna go through them with you now and the character names. See what you think, right? So 1970, Hercules in New York. It was
Plus,
Hercules.
He fights a gorilla. He fights like a bear in that one, you know. In
Yeah.
Central Park. He smashes his head in.
Then he was in The Long Goodbye. And he was just like an uncredited role in that. Then he was in one called Stay Hungry, where he played the role of Joe Santo. Doesn't suit his accent, if I'm honest, that name.
Yeah, but the movie Stay Hungry, like when you like strip and weight for bodybuilding, you can't eat now, can you?
Right.
So he was probably sorted for that.
Then he did Pumping Iron as himself.
Class.
And then he was in a film called The Villain as the role of Handsome Stranger.
And he was a handsome stranger. He was a handsome lad.
Right.
The role writes itself.
Let's have a look at Stallone's first 5, right? Okay. So Stallone was in one called The Square Root.
Never heard of it.
It must have been a maths film, I don't know. Then he was in one Downhill Racer as a restaurant patron.
Never heard
so
of
these
this.
are all uncredited. We won't count these.
No,
I
you
like this
can't do
one.
that.
This is a good one in 1970. The Party at Kitty and Stud's, where he played the role of Stud, and this was a softcore pornographic film. Straight away, Stallone is getting extra points for pornos here. Right?
No, you can give him an extra point for porno if you want,
Right.
but I'm going to take it away for his mum being on Celebrity Big Brother, so he loses that point straight away.
Then you've got Lovers and Other Strangers, where he played the groomsman.
Is that porno again?
It might be. I like that. These are all uncredited extras, so I don't know if they should count or not. But I like the name of this one, right? This film where he played the role of party guest in 1970 was called The Sidelong Glances of a Pigeon Kicker.
Yeah, I know. Was that produced by NASA? By any chance? Because I think it is.
You'll see him down the down the fountains in Stocking High Street kicking the pigeons, and then he
man.
collects them, sells them to the takeaways. He was in a film called Bananas. He was in one called Clute. He was in one called What's Up, Doc? No Place to Hide. Now this is the one that sort of got him noticed, and I love the name of the title, The Lords of Flatbush.
I have seen that movie a
got
few
the Fonz
times.
in it.
I know, that's why I've seen it a few
Henry
times.
Winkler was
It's class.
Stallone's best friend.
It's class. And he's actually good in that movie as well.
Yeah, that's what really brought him to light, wasn't it? And he wrote and changed a lot of it as well as he went through it.
Yeah, don't you hear people who do that, Ted?
But yeah, I mean, they all did a couple of stinkers to start with. We'll look back at this podcast before we're famous and go, I can't believe we recorded some of them podcast episodes, you know what I mean? But it's a stepping stone to success and flange.
Well, mostly flange.
We're only in it for the
Do you know what I
flange.
mean? Only in it for the podcast flange.
Only in it for all of the podcast flange that follows me everywhere, to the secret location where we filmed the podcast, right the way to the secret location where we live.
Not together though anymore, Ted.
No, not anymore.
We had to give that up, didn't we?
Yeah, you got too kinky with Broadback. I couldn't keep with all the noises.
That's what the shed's for, man. Told you.
And, Bloody
So
hell.
I would then. What's his next 5 then?
Well, right, let's go through a couple of classics, right? We won't go because there's so many, but obviously, Rocky. Right? You can't dish Rocky.
But you can. Absolutely, you can dish Rocky. Right?
You fucking try.
You look at it, you're just like every white man there. Oh, look at Rocky. Oh, I'm going to pretend I'm mad. They like every lad who comes out of, like, the clock's out at 2 o'clock in the morning wanting to fight.
Yeah.
Right? Listen, that lad in that movie, Rocky, he was a debt collector that worked for the mafia. He was a wrong'un.
You just got to do what you got to do.
You
got to do what you got to do.
And Adrian, bless her.
I'd rather Adrian, mate.
Talia Shire. Oh, yes, mint.
Yeah.
Mint. But Talia, bless her, she was a little bit special, shall we say. I think there was a sort of abusive relationship on the go there.
Well, there was with Uncle Paulie.
Oh, he's mint.
Uncle Paulie was knocking shit out of her.
He's probably my favourite character.
Doing other stuff as well. Uncle Paulie just died recently, hasn't he?
He was not doing other stuff in Rocky. Don't listen to him.
Just died recently.
He was classing. He's probably one of my favourite characters.
Bust him up, Rocco!
He's mint. He reminds me of my uncle, so I just go, yeah. That's him.
Paulie. So obviously you had Rocky, and we'll come back to Rocky later on, or one of the many Rockies. Did you ever see the film Fist? Was that another porno?
Was that made after Rocky? And was it like he was like a strike breaker?
It was on strike.
I remember. I've seen it, but
he was
years
a
ago.
warehouse worker who became involved in the labour union leadership things and stuff like that. Yeah,
like Ricky Tomlinson, whatever he's called.
Then obviously Paradise Alley. Is that another porno? They're all just porno titles. That was a wrestling one, wasn't it? Which bombed and died on its arse.
Well, absolutely. It wouldn't beat that wrestling one that had Hogan and Zeus in it.
Oh, yeah.
No Holds Barred.
No Holds Barred, yeah.
Yeah, class.
Yeah. I started kicking off with the old Conan Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer.
Don't just move quickly past Conan.
Go on, talk to me about the Conan, because I liked him in Red Sonja, where you seen little flangy tits in it.
You liked her in Red Sonja, you didn't like it. In Conan the Barbarian, he's mint. Absolutely, it's such a violent movie that, when you go back and watch it.
I know.
But he's ripped, and he tells you the story about how he got ripped. He's just on like a wheel, like as a punishment, he has to push it round, and you see him as a little kid, and they do the best montage ever. It just starts him pushing this wheel around as a little kid. And then by the time he finishes, he's like a fully fledged bloke who's like ripped to death. He's definitely been on the roids at that stage.
He's on the protein, the creatine, the roids. He's injecting things up his bum.
Yeah, he was class man, Conan. Absolutely mint movie.
What about Conan the Destroyer?
That was a porn, I think.
Oh, then, it's only me. Hey, listen, it's coming up to Crimbo. You need to be able to treat your lovers, treat the matter, treat your dealer, do whatever you got to do with some Mikey D merchandise. Got t-shirts, hoodies, mugs. You need to get them snapped up, you know what I mean? I'm also doing personalised Christmas messages, birthday messages as well. So click the link below, get them ordered before it's too late. Cut-off point is normally around about the 17th, 18th, 19th of December. So get them delivered in time, you know what I mean? That's UK mainland, mind, you know what I mean? Delivering offshore, you're going to have to get someone to pop it in the old doll for them and bring them out to you. Alright, so get them ordered. Don't be a Doyle. You know the dance, kids.
One of the best movies of all time, The Terminator, man.
He really tested all of his acting abilities.
It's class. And it's happening now. Do you know what I mean? All this AI is going to come back and start sorting people out.
And asking you for your motorcycle shoes.
Well, they can have me grifter.
Yeah, can I have your grifter and your Adidas Samba?
I doubt it. I'm moving to Patrick. So it doesn't even know.
Oh, yeah. Terminator was a class film. I'll give him that, though. That was like his Rocky, wasn't it?
Didn't it have Sigourney Weaver's tits in it?
Not Sigourney Weaver.
What's her name?
It was Sarah Connor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She was called Linda Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton.
That was it. Linda Hamilton.
Not Linda McCartney.
Not Linda Barker doing a fucking sofa deal. But then there was a spell of just class action films from Schwarzenegger and Stallone. They went head to head, you know what I mean? Like, he did a couple of shit ones, they both did, but then you had like Commando, Raw Deal, Predator, The Running Man, Red Heat, and then he did Twins.
All of them could be pornos.
But then Rocky, he obviously did Fist, Paradise Alley, Rocky 2, Night Hawks, Escape to Victory.
Yeah.
Class goalkeeper Stallone, Rocky 3, First Blood, Rambo, and then he directed and also had a little uncredited cameo in the sequel to Saturday Night Fever called Staying Alive.
Yeah, he walks down the road and bangs into him, doesn't he? And he goes, "I'm walking here."
Which is why Travolta wears that red headband, because at the time Rambo was one of his projects.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I've let you know, out of all the movies there, right, Total Recall was one of my first wank memories. Do you know that?
What, with the three titties?
Oh, yeah.
Man, I wish I had 3 hands.
Schwarzenegger, right?
What do you call him there?
Schwarzenegger is known... Behave. He's known for having, like, wicked tits in his movie, right? And I'm telling you why. If you watch True Lies, there is the woman with the best set of natural tits in the world, Jamie Lee Curtis. Ted, can we have a picture of Jamie Lee Curtis's tits up here?
Oh, I can't put the tits up. I'll just put Jamie Lee Curtis. I might block out her tits.
Right. For all you young'uns that don't know, you need to get yourself back and watch Jamie Lee Curtis in her younger days. My God, her tits are absolutely
Yeah, because she was in
Trading Places.
In Trading Places. But that was True Lies, wasn't it?
True Lies, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's one of the tits.
That was
That
was later
fantastic.
on. No, that, mate. That was like late 90s, True Lies.
I reckon the tits will still be all right in the 90s.
Yeah. I think you're right. She
It's
did have
lovely.
good tits, yeah. What about in Kindergarten Cop, where he played...
Kindergarten what, Ted?
Kindergarten Cop. Last Action Hero.
Class.
Junior.
Is that where he was pregnant?
That's where he's a prego fella.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
me. I love that.
Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, wicked.
Eraser.
What? Like
In a rubber.
I tried to discover. Like
No, that's
that.
Eraser, you
Oh,
dickhead.
sorry.
Fucking Dr. Freeze in Batman and Robin.
Oh, yes, you're about to feel the chill.
Dr. Dolittle 2, where he did the voice of the White Wolf. Around the World in 80 Days. And then the crossover of the Expendables.
Which is, that's both of them lads, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
and if you look at some of the fucking stinkers what Stallone did, right?
everything after Rocky.
I mean, no, he did some beauties like Cobra. And
Don't you say Cliffhanger.
Hang on. Cobra, Over the Top, Lock Up, Tango and Cash. These were good films.
He plays the same lad in all of them, like some
But
muscle
then-
messed up guy.
Then came the farce Oscar, which was dreadful. Do you remember that?
No, never heard of it.
It's in the documentary Sly as well. It's like set in the 1930s, and it's like a comedic farce called Oscar, where it was directed by John Landis.
Oh, yeah, well-known lad.
And it's a remake of a French film of the same name set in the Depression era of New York City. And Oscar, it's shit, basically.
Right, you're right. So you're the casting director for this, right? It's
Yeah.
a French farce set in the 1930s. Wait, any movie star in the world you can have. Who do you fancy having? Sly Stallone.
I can do this for you. And then there came the biggest fucking turkey out of all of them. Stop or my mum will shoot. You know, with the Randy Nana out of Golden Girls.
Mint.
Wasn't.
Oh, it's class, that one. Yeah, Stallone gets a point back for that.
But then Cliffhanger, Demolition Man. What a comeback.
Yeah, that was class, actually, Demolition Man.
But do you
That
know,
was
for
mint.
me, right? What
We
he's-
still use the shells, by the way, in our house instead of toilet roll.
What are you on about?
Like in Demolition Man, they got the shells, don't they?
yeah. But you know, what for me is his greatest piece of work apart from Rocky and Rambo?
I think you're going to say Cliffhanger.
No. Copland.
That's actually not a bad film, you know, Ted.
Excellent
It's not a bad film.
De Niro, Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't mind Copland.
Absolute beauty film. It's got Ray Liotta in. It's just class. And he put on loads of weight to play like Fat Stallone.
How is that a thing for actors, though? Why'd you get points for doing that? Like, I can imagine when you have to slim down, like when you're Christian Bale in The Machinist and you have to, like, in The Machinist, but mine about in there, whatever, you know, when he slimmed down and he was eating apples a day and stuff.
That was The Machinist,
The Machinist, that was the right one. Right,
Yeah.
Christian Bale in The Machinist, you get points for that. If you're going for a role, they say, you're going to have to put some weight on. But he's like, oh, no, I'll have a par more. I'll have another Parmo.
Yeah.
It's not exactly hard, is
I've
it?
just had one tonight.
What role are you going for?
Which role, more like? Yeah. So they both went through a period of stinkers, but they both came back with fucking class films. Because Stallone and Schwarzenegger. He did the Expendables, didn't he?
Which
but
is class.
then I'm really struggling to see any credibility. He did stuff like Escape Plan.
Right, there is a reason for this, right? Because about this time that he's talking about boys and girls, he was doing something else with himself, wasn't he? He was being the governor of California. So you can't really be going, right, let's stop gun crime and then go and make a movie with loads of gun crime in it, can you?
Well, hang on.
But you have to have a break.
Well, I'm looking at, he had a break, right, for 5 years, in 2005 to 2010, where he came with the Expendables, and then 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 15, 17, 18, 19, all shite.
Yeah.
Shite. Now, if we look at Stallone...
But Stallone wasn't governing a state
Doesn't matter.
that's bigger than half of Europe.
Doesn't matter.
No, I'm not having this.
He did some beauties. Obviously, the Expendable franchise, Bullet to the Head.
Crap.
Yeah, it was crap, that one. Escape Plan, he was in as well.
Yeah. There you go.
Creed.
No, we're not having Rocky in again.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, there's one. Oh, sorry, I thought there was one there called Blackface, but it's Backtrace. I read it wrong.
Did he do that? Did he do that one with Mel Gibson by any chance?
What about Rambo: Last Blood?
No.
What about Rocky Balboa?
No.
Class.
You can't have any of them because it's just they're extensions of a franchise.
What about Samaritan?
Because hang on,
have you watched Samaritan?
I haven't, but I'm sure Arnold Schwarzenegger was in Terminator Judgment Day as well.
No,
he was in one of the Terminator ones.
It was Terminator Dark Fate.
That's the one. Dark Face again. What are you doing this for, Ted? He's got some racist algorithm up here on the computer, I'm telling you.
It is shite. I mean, it's a tough one.
No, it isn't, Ted. Right, let's hit each other with some facts, right? We are Teesside, we are proud, right? And there's no more Teesside action hero than Schwarzenegger. The lad had 12 jobs all at once, right? Firstly, he was a weightlifter. Love a bit of the protein. He took a bit of rides. He was a bodybuilder, wasn't he? Then he went and did a bit of grafting, built his own house empire, started selling them off cheap, you know what I mean? Bit of a side job. Then he only goes and he married, what's her name? Maria Shriver, who was John F. Kennedy's niece. Do you know what I mean? He was in with the Kennedys. He's like that Borough lad, right, who's Mrs. She's from Yarm and she's got a bit of money and he's like, oh, I'm going to graft my way in here. And he's going to Christmas dinner being a good lad, but he's actually having 3 lines cheeky in the toilet when it's Christmas dinner and he's upstairs because that's what he's doing. Then he did all of that, right? Then he goes, he had an heart attack, which he did, he had 2 of them. Then he goes, I'm not going to retire. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to run a state that's bigger than half of the countries in Europe. And he just went and knocked that one out the park. How good is that? And he did about 20 billion class movies in between. What did Stallone do except make 6 Rockies?
Hang on, I'm just looking at one of his television shows that Schwarzenegger did in 1977 called The San Pedro Beach Bums, where he played the role of Muscle Man.
Listen.
All right, let's look at some of the TVs that they've done recently, though, right? TV shows, right? Schwarzenegger had that Netflix fucking show that was utter shite. Was it Fubar or something like that? It was.
Did you watch it?
It was absolutely awful. But then Stallone, he only did it because Stallone brought out Tulsa King, which was mint, where he played Dwight the General Manfredi, and he was class. Tulsa
King.
King.
Very good. It is very, very good, Tulsa King. But one swallow does not make a summer, Ted. And we've seen here that Schwarzenegger has been diverse all the way across his life, doing loads of grafting stuff like a proper Borough lad should.
I'm struggling here, Mahler, I really am. I mean, we're going to have to open it out to the viewers, right? I'm on Team Stallone. Mallet is on Team Schwarzenegger. make a comment in the comment section who it is you think is the greatest actor and probably person as well, because they're both shitbags.
No, I wouldn't have person in it. He like got his maid and that pregnant, didn't he? So I was thinking, he's a proper borough lad, man.
Oh, hey, you've just got some points back there. Schwarzer got his maid up the duff with an illegitimate child,
Well,
didn't he?
Imagine that she was like a little Guatemalan lass, and he's like, "That is not my baby." And this kid's about 7 foot tall, ripped to death.
Look, Guatemalan.
Guatemalan Schwarzenegger. How good is that?
Yeah, I think you just got yourself a point back there.
I will give you a
But then
point.
Stallone did that documentary with his family, the Stallones, didn't he? And his daughter's a proper buck. Have you seen his daughters?
At home with the Stallones.
Yeah, he's got his own reality TV show, hasn't he?
What does he do? Oh, yeah, they'll keep on leaving the food out.
the Family Stallone. Like that. Hey, yo, where's my pot noodle? Stuff like that. Hey, you would eat a pot noodle, father? Yeah.
I will give you some points back because although I did knock it earlier, when I watched Celebrity Big Brother, I'd have gone deep, on Stallone's mum.
On Jackie?
Too right, I would have. Well, aye. She's a handsome
The thing
woman.
is, though, his mum's been in it, and she was in the same time as his ex-wife, wasn't she? Which was also Schwarzenegger's ex-wife, Bridget Nielsen. They were both in the same
I don't think
Celebrity Big
Schwarzenegger
Brother.
was married to Bridget. I think he just piped her a bit.
I'm pretty sure he...
I think he just laid some deep pipe in it,
I'm pretty sure they both had a little marriageal sniff of a biff.
You've got to be careful what you're typing there, Ted.
Let's have a look. Here we go. Bridget Nielsen, born Gitty Nielsen. Yes.
Bridget Nielsen. How come on Wikipedia it says bloke she's piped off under a list there?
I'm honest.
Sort yourself on Wikipedia.
She's had some frigging spouses, like, hasn't she?
She's had some.
Oh, yeah, she was married to Stallone. She was married to Sebastian Copeland.
See, he was with Maria Shriver, wasn't he? He was getting in deep with the Royal Family of America, that lad.
Well,
He wasn't.
Right, listen then. Let's end this then. If you were to pick a film of Schwarzenegger's as his ultimate performance, which one are you going to do? I want you to pitch your film and why you think it's the greatest. Has that camera gone off?
Yes.
Yeah, well, crack on. Go on.
Right. For me, it's got to be Total Recall, and I'm going to tell you why, Ted.
Go on,
I
then.
am going to tell you why. It's a story about a lad who wants to forget what he is like, and he goes back in this, it goes on this games machine, basically, which puts him to sleep and sends him into a different reality. And he sees a bird with 3 tits, and he goes to Mars, and it re-teleforms it all, and he looks muscly in it, and he's class. And it was probably his first movie where he actually tried to play something a bit more serious than just being an action hero. And it was mint when I was a kid because I always wanted to go to Mars. It was class, Ted. And, like I said, a blue bird with 3 tits. Can't beat it.
Yeah, it's a great pitch you did there. I mean, I was going to go into the details of Copland, but I'm not. I'm gonna pitch the square root. No, I'm not. The party at Kitty and Studs. No, for me, do you know what? I like the film Rambo 3.
Class movie.
Right. Is it Rambo 3 where he goes to Afghan or Rambo 2?
It's that's the one where he's on the horse, isn't he? What you mean where he's helping the Taliban?
Hang on.
You like the movie where he helps the Taliban? Are you having that?
Rambo 3 is
He'll edit this, ladies and
yeah,
gentlemen.
I will.
He'll do something.
Yeah, it's the Soviet-Afghan war, isn't it? Rambo 3 is the Soviet-Afghan war. And just purely for that, where he gets sent in and all these Afghans are like, I don't think he knows what he is doing, and stuff like that. and then he goes, are you sure you know how to use that, John Rambo? And he turns around and he goes, I've fired a few shots.
When are the French?
Just for that. It's just them class lines. I know Schwarzenegger is a master of the "you're fired" or "get to the chopper" and stuff like that. But Stallone, I reckon Stallone is a much better shag.
We'll have to put it out there, won't we?
Who do you think's got the biggest peckerwood, Stallone or Schwarzenegger? Bear in mind, they're both aggressive roideheads over the years.
There's only one way to solve this, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a good old-fashioned cock off.
Cock off.
Right, Stallone, right, Schwarzenegger. You've listened to our podcast, you've watched it, because obviously you have, haven't you? Because them lads watched, don't they? You've watched it. What the people at Teesside want you to do is get together and have a cock off. If you can film it and send it to Ted, give him the address, Ted. TedHanky.com.
TedHanky.com or info@tedhanky.com is a
Send
website.
your cock off recorded and we will show it live to the people at Teesside.
We will. I'm going to retract that though because I'm going to go back to the Rocky series and it's just got so much emotion on it as well. You know, it just like it plays with all your emotions. You can't help but get involved. It's a brilliant story and it's a beautiful soundtrack as well. And when you think about it, you know, what sort of empathy has Schwarzenegger offered in movies? Apart from that one, is it Flight Plan where he loses his daughter, but it's a shit film or whatever it is?
Obviously, you've never ever watched some of his classics like Junior. Honestly, you would think that he was an actual given birth.
It's coming out of my asshole!
I mean, he knew what women went through. He's such a man.
I'm just thinking Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, to a certain extent Rocky 4, Rocky 5, forget about that one. Rocky Balboa was brilliant. And then the Creed franchise, up until the most recent one, which he's not in and he kicked off about, it's still pretty good though.
Let's weigh it up, right? So you ready for this weighing, Ted?
Go on then.
Right. On one hand, right, Arnie's dad, he fought for the Germans.
Oh.
On the other hand, Rambo fought with the Taliban, so they cancel each other out.
Right, all right, fair enough.
So they cancel each other out.
Fair enough. But they were fighting the Russians.
But there was still the Taliban, so they cancel each other out, yeah?
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So we've cancelled both of them out. The second one, Rocky is...
Is it going to be Rocky? Is it going to be Rocky v Terminator or Rocky v Commando?
Rocky v Commando. You've got
Commando?
to do it that way. Oh,
Terminator is his most famous
You've
film.
got to do Rambo versus Commando, and you've got to give it to Rambo because it is a better movie.
What about?
You ugly motherfucker.
Well, there's no need to talk to me like that.
Predator?
Predator
Talk about Predator?
And it has Jesse the Body Ventura in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so that cancels that out. So Rocky wins on that one, doesn't it? If you're going to be fair. Rambo wins. And Rocky would beat the Terminator in my eyes. So he wins on that one.
Do you think?
Well, of course it is. Yeah, Rocky is class and it's about lads just battering people.
No, hard you get hit.
It's not about futuristic nerds coming back and having scraps and having long hair and Guns N' Roses soundtracks.
Right. Do you know what? We'll leave it there, Mallet. Schwarzenegger, Stallone. It's a tough one, but it's my podcast. So I say Stallone. But
well, let's leave it with the Stallone then. Leave one of these in.
Viewers, what do you think? So that concludes this week's TED Talks, the TED Hanky podcast, where we are deliberating Stallone versus Schwarzenegger. We don't have an answer. It's up to you to comment in the comment section who you think is the best, who did the better films, and who's got the biggest chopper.
Ted, I am going to get off at this point because all that talk about Jackie Stallone, you know, his mum, it's got me set off. I know a bird down Westbury Street who looks a bit like her, and I know she likes a bit of a late night caller, so I'm off. See you later, Teesside. Enjoy yourself. See you later, Ted.
See you, Mala. Oh, Mala there. Off to penetrate a Jackie Stallone lookalike who works in Bennett's, the hardware store on Westbury Street. Thanks for tuning in. Anyway, you know, you might have thought it was a good episode. You might have thought it was shit. If you thought it was a good episode, please comment and say you thought it was good. If it was shit, please go and find somebody else's podcast and comment on that instead. That'd be really helpful. You know what I mean? So, thank you very much to the Warehouse Kitchen Bar for sponsoring the podcast as well. Go and have a cracking palmo. They are mint. And, as per usual, have a cracking week. Up the butter and believe.